And we will get started. So let's see here. Okay, so yeah, so we'll get started. Like I say, anybody who's going to kind of come in late, we're going to be recording anyways, so I'll pass along the recording after the sessions are finished, in case you got to duck out early or whatever. I'll run it through till the end, and then I'll post the recording after the fact. I do want to start by thanking you guys for coming out. I did run one of these specifically basically this same content a couple weeks ago. We had lots of people on there. It was really good, kind of a really good event. A lot of good Q&A after the fact. So definitely any questions you have, if you want to sort of ask them while we're moving through, I'll likely be able to kind of pull some out and get to those questions. But certainly after the fact, we can get the Q&A going. And it's not, and I wouldn't say to limit the questions necessarily to just to the marketing content or something like that. If you have questions about product, if you have questions about protocols, if you've got questions about anything, I think I've kind of wanted to do this on purpose to have a sort of a touch point and an open forum to ask, to be able to ask questions and to kind of hear some of the questions that other people are asking and get that feedback and do things like that. So I am going to move to kind of going through the presentation that I put together here. The presentation is really going to be focused on marketing, and so the primary idea of what what I wanted to do in here this evening was to put on a seminar. Actually, my background is not in pharmaceuticals or cosmetics or something like that per se. Actually, it's more in marketing and communications. I worked for years in internet marketing. I've sold all kinds of products. I've managed sales teams. I've directed sales and marketing operations for companies in a variety of different industries. And so this particular venture, it's a little close to home for me. The company is the distribution company in the States here is owned by my brother. And when he first kind of got started, I came on board to sort of help him to drive some of those efforts. And then ultimately I've kind of ended up responsible for managing national brands and multi-site partnerships and things like that. But again, also working together um, with his inside sales team and the outside sales team and the contractors and that, and helping to develop relationships with individual clients, helping to develop marketing programs and so forth. So, what I wanted to do was to try to take some of my experience, some of the kind of general marketing concepts that I know and that I've applied to some of the stuff we do and into other businesses, and just impart that knowledge on you. And some of that stuff, it may be things you already know. Some of it may be things you're doing and you don't necessarily know that you're doing it, that you're doing something that's a kind of a formalized approach to sales and marketing. And in other cases, there's going to be a nugget in here somewhere that you're going to say, oh, that's a good idea, or oh, that's smart, and be able to apply that into what you're doing to help to try to drive more business and to try to gather more clientele and increase the footprint of, I mean, not just bio repeal necessarily, but even just our kind of our whole suite of products in your business. And I think the reality of it is that ultimately, whatever we discuss here is kind of transferable to whatever products and services you're selling in your business. Um, so with that being said, it'll be a sort of a little bit of a marketing 101 in here. And then as I was, alluding to before, we can kind of move into, this kind of more, Q&A sort of town hall environment, just to really ask and answer any questions that you might have that are on your mind, because we have this open forum, the opportunity to do so. Now, in terms of, kind of the content, right? The tables of content. This is sort of what we're looking at, going through today. Discuss some of the goals and objectives. Talk about why to market and how to market. Look at a specific marketing theory and marketing approach. Touch on some kind of specific examples along the way. conclusions, and then get into that Q&A session. Um, my first objective, is from strictly from the perspective of kind of passing over, some of this information, some of this knowledge, is to identify why somebody wants to market, to actively market or promote the services, and then different means and methods of doing so. Two is to teach some of the fundamentals of this of the marketing approach. That's the label is SMART, SMART, which stands for something specific, which we'll get into in a moment, and then to provide this forum for understanding and kind of internalizing these concepts, with the end goal of having you kind of walk away from here with some sort of a different perspective on things that will help to guide your marketing efforts, and help you to drive new sales and new business and increase your bottom line. When we've completed this session, again, I think that really the idea is that I will have imparted something, some piece of knowledge on you, that you use to your advantage to, to do a better job, or or a more thorough job, or a more organized job, or whatever, of marketing and promoting your the various, again, specifically bioskin products and services, but it will translate into really all of the products and services that you sell. And then, as I had mentioned in the email, because you came out tonight, basically what we're going to do is, I'm looking to, to draw a winner for a free vial of the blue. The truth is, can be blue or gold. Actually, that's really okay with me. In your next order. Everybody who's here participating this evening, that's that's online here actively, is going to get 5% off the 5% off the next order, and also $100 off the purchase of any Lucente kit through till the end of August. Okay, so just kind of for being here tonight, we're going to give you some promotional stuff. We're going to give you some. There's going to be some giveaway, and I think doing this sort of speaks to kind of what we're going to talk about tonight, which is, if I sent out an email and I said, oh yeah, come listen to me talk about marketing, that may be one thing. I sent out an email that says, come listen to me talk about marketing, and you're going to get this and this and this. And it makes it sort of that much more attractive. I like to think that you're interested just to spend time with me, but the reality of the situation is that, I incentivize the participation, in a kind of a specific way, to help to kind of bolster those efforts. And I think that some of this here, the same is going to be true in regard to the marketing and the promotion that you guys are going to do. That one of the things that you're going to want to do is to have some kind of a call to action, or some kind of an incentive, which we'll obviously talk about, but that's going to drive people to take some action, to come to see you, to book an appointment, whatever. So getting into the why of marketing, right? So why do companies market, do advertising campaigns, promote their products? And there's basically two primary reasons, or two sort of tracks, right, that marketing takes. One is brand reinforcement. So companies like Coke and Pepsi and things like this, everybody knows these companies, everybody knows their products. No, everybody's in every corner of the earth is familiar with Coca-Cola and whatever. They don't need to market because they're gonna find all these new customers that never heard of them, or or something like that. Really, the primary goal of the marketing that you see around really well established brands is just strictly about brand reinforcement. And it's a sort of a timely thing. I'm thirsty, I'm driving down the street, the convenience store's up on the corner, and there's like a billboard for Coke, and there's like ice, and it's drip, and it looks like it's gonna, it looks gonna quench my thirst. And maybe when I get into the fridge, I'm gonna reach for the Coke instead of the Pepsi, because that's like the last thing I saw before I got there, right? So, but ultimately, their advertising efforts are primarily about brand reinforcement, and it's rarely going to be that you see an advertisement for a company like that has like a specific call to action, like get 20% off your Coke products if you buy now. Like, that's something that might happen at the retail level, to drive sales of a particular product at a supermarket or something like that, but not because that mandate comes down from Coca-Cola company that they're trying to increase their sales through promotional activity or marketing activity. Um, the opposite is, or the other side of the spectrum, are specific kind of call to action campaigns, which you see, which are going to be the types of things that we're going to do, that you're going to do, that other medium and small businesses are going to do, because the primary purpose of that type of marketing is to drive potential clients to act immediately, to be in contact with you, to acquire your product or your service. And so generally when you're crafting those types of campaigns, that's where you're going to see, Father's Day special, Christmas thing, call us now, get this promotion, because the idea is again to motivate someone to get in contact with you to become a client. So you have, sort of client acquisition versus brand reinforcement as your two primary tracks for marketing efforts. One doesn't negate the other. And so the real truth is that, on a kind of a consistent basis, there's something to be said for doing brand reinforcement type advertising for any size business. We're out here, we provide these services, we're great, you love us, keep coming back. And the call to action campaigns, which we're going to get into now, but which are specific, measurable, achievable, at time sensitive, that you want people to be acting on something, doing it now for this particular purpose, and trying to gather and acquire new business. How to market really sort of boils down to the three media: print media, digital media, and physical media. Print, pamphlets, brochures, magazines, things like this. This is kind of like, your for a lot of us, this is like your grandfather's type of advertising. But in there is still a place for that type of advertising, be it flyers or direct mail type of things, or things like this that you can do, that still, with the right personal touch, are very effective. Christmas cards and things like this that people kind of like, sometimes you sort of think about it, you put it to the wayside. But for a lot of customers, those type of customer, like print media, is a really good customer retention type of a tool, right? That it lets people know that you're sort of thinking about them, and it's like something physical that you gave them. And there's, psychologically, there's something to that that's different than digital media. And so it's, and so in that sense, though it may have a similar type of a reach or a similar type of a cost structure, it has a different type of an impact on people when they kind of physically get something, or it's like hanging around, on the desk, and they see it again, and whatever. So there's some longevity to print that's a little bit different than digital. The digital media, that's really the stuff I think that everybody's kind of doing. And so mastering that and using those tools in the effective way, is really going to be your best, your kind of your primary mechanism, and probably your best mechanism for finding business quickly, and for interacting and communicating with customers quickly. If it's email blasts, if it's social media stuff, if it's Instagram posts, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, those kind of things are gonna have the fastest direct impact, and you're getting that feedback and that reaction very quickly. And then the physical stuff, which I personally think is the most productive, and has really the longest lasting impact, is the call campaigns, the trade shows, the open houses, treatment parties, things like this. All these types of events that you can do, where you physically standing in front of the people, you're shaking hands, you're talking it out, and that physical interaction is very, very critical in relationship building and establishing relationship, maintaining relationships. And I mean, I find all the time, like, I could be dealing with somebody for 2 years, and when you meet them the first time in the trade show, it's like, oh my God, like you have this long-standing business relationship with a person you never met before. And just to kind of physically see them and stand in front of them and talk with them is, has this whole next level impact on deepening that relationship and strengthening that relationship. So, as you kind of think about, how do I want to market to people, you want to sort of, have a view to which of these things are going to, provide you the best results, but also in what time frame are they going to provide you results? At what cost are they going to provide you results? Trade shows the most expensive. Digital is probably the best, return. Print is very cheap. You can get a box of, pamphlets to throw out on the street corner for nothing, for pennies, right? So, each of them has their sort of strength and their weakness in that regard. Um, so the marketing theory that I wanted to talk about today was like one of the original marketing theories I was ever taught, kind of formally. And so the acronym is SMART marketing. And SMART stood for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time sensitive or time bound, right? Attached to a time. Um, in the smart marketing approach is applied to two things. It's applied to actual marketing campaigns as well as more broadly to approaches to marketing. So in this case, we're going to be looking at applying this theory to actual marketing campaigns as opposed to the broader goals. But in any case, the key points to focus on are going to be these 5 items: the specificity, measurability, achievability, relevance, and time sensitivity. So, specifics, right? You want your advertisement, your marketing effort should be specific to a certain product or service, right? If you are doing brand reinforcement stuff, that's one thing. If you're doing call to action stuff, you don't. It's important for something to be the most effective, for something to end up being the most measurable, et cetera. You want it to be sort of as focused as possible in a way, right? So not all of the bioskin services and all of these things, like just the hair booster mesotherapy, just the BioRepeal Blue, just the whatever, the skin radiance mesotherapy, like whatever that, just the Lucente, whatever that thing is, like focus on that thing, build your marketing effort around that thing and around that particular product and service. And ultimately the reason why you're doing that is, again, because when you start to look at measurability of the success or the relative success of the advertising campaign or whatever, you you don't want it to get diluted by too much, right? So if it's about 5 different products, then it starts to become harder to understand, well, why are they calling me? Like, was it because of this or because of that? And which thing was attractive, or so on and so forth. Whereas, if you focus on a product and you promote that product and you see that there's a certain level of success and promotion of that product, and then you focus on a different one and promote that and you see that there's more success, it also helps you to understand popular versus less popular products and so on. So it gives you a different view to the services or the products that you're selling and their relevance to your market. By starting with a focus on a particular thing as you get into an advertising campaign or marketing campaign. So the advertisement or the marketing effort should be specific to a product or service. You should have a specific goal or an outcome in mind. So I want to get 10 new customers for this hair booster serum, right? Whatever that goal is, but it should be something specific that you decide, this is what I want to see happen from this campaign, not just to do it, but to do it to have with some end goal in mind. And then ideally should have a specific call to action, in that campaign. So, Dad doesn't want a new tie for Father's Day. He wants more hair, right? And I think that almost like that kind of says it all, right? And it's the call to action is already implicit. Get more hair, right? By using this product. But in any case, it's the idea there, like we're saying, is specific product, specific goal, and a specific call to action. Okay. Um, in terms of the next piece, which is measurable or measurability, right? We want that our marketing efforts should be measurable in its impact and in its return, right? Now, digital is easy because most of the time you do a digital advertising campaign, you do a email blast, you do whatever pay-per-click stuff or whatever digital stuff you're doing, right? There's tracking mechanisms that are built into those media that allow you to get a lot of data back. Here's how many people clicked. Here's how many people looked at it. Here's how many pages they went through when they hit your website. This is the link they clicked on. This is the search engine they came from, et cetera, et cetera. There's all kinds of data that's available that sit underneath these digital advertising campaigns. And so the digital, from the perspective of measurability, is very strong, and you don't have to do a lot to try to understand, to draw a straight line from, this advertisement to this, to this new business or to this result. If you're doing print, or you're doing, like, I don't know, you're doing TV or radio, or a billboard or something, there typically you're going to want to have some kind of a specific tracking mechanism. You're going to want to have a promo code or something like that, right? So all the time you'll hear like advertisements on the radio, and they'll be like, use code blue, to get your free blah 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 when you call and sign up for this program, right? So you have your call to action, you have your reward, you have your tracking mechanism, all in like this one sentence. And so I think that type of thing, if you're going to be doing print, if you're going to be doing audio media, if you're going to be doing billboard advertisement or something like that, these signs on the side of the road, they should always have some kind of a code or some kind of a tracking method that you can use. Sometimes people set up virtual numbers, right? Like a virtual 800 number. And if a call comes through that number, they know it came from that ad. So there's lots of ways to do different tracking for those media that are not, digital per se. I think that the goal at the end of the day, though, or is what underpins all of this, is that the data is king. If you do a marketing effort, if you do a promotion, if you do an advertisement, and you have no way of knowing what specifically came back from that, it's just anecdotal. It's just conjecture, right? Oh, I did this thing, and then I got a bunch of new clients. Well, maybe you were going to get a bunch of new clients anyways, and you wasted your money, right? Maybe you could have got more if the ad was done differently, which gets into A/B testing and things like this, which is a kind of a separate matter. But the point is that without metrics, without something to say, this advertisement yielded this result, you're ultimately just kind of like, throwing money, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, right? And like I say, anecdotally, maybe you got more customers. You don't know whether you would have got them anyways, if you don't have some way to track it back to the specific marketing effort that you've put in place. So really, measurability is actually the key for driving future marketing efforts and future marketing spends. That the better the metrics, the better the data, the better the information you have about each campaign, the better and more effective the subsequent campaigns can be, in terms of how you spend your money and where you spend your money. Achievability is also very important, insofar as, like, not setting goals. If we get back to specific, right? Not setting goals that are just not attainable, right? So, if I say, oh, I want to get 1,000 new clients from this thing, that's not going to happen, right? It's just not the nature of things. If I make a goal for myself that I want to get 10 new customers, because achievability has two pieces. It's got the initial achievability, like, can you even get 1,000 customers from the marketing effort you're going to do? But then the other part of it is, like, if you did, what would you do with them, right? Like the dog chasing the car, and when he catches the car, he doesn't know what to do with the car. You don't want to be in that position. You get 1,000 customers and you can't service them because you don't have the resources for that. So you want that your marketing goals line up in terms of achievability with what you're able to ultimately deliver as well, and not kind of write checks that you can't cash, so to speak, in your offering that you make in that advertisement. There's only so many hours in a day, and if everybody is getting this Mother's Day special, there's only so many hours in Mother's Day. And so you can't book 100 people to come in on that time. It can only be a handful of people that are going to be able to ultimately sort of take advantage of that within a certain window, and so on. And so you need to know what that is, and kind of craft your efforts accordingly, but also temper your expectations and what you believe is achievable from that campaign accordingly as well, and try to gauge your desired outcomes on what you're going to be able to fulfill, that you're going to be able to deliver and do it well. Because the other piece that always sort of hangs over all of this is that you're going to get these new customers. You want to impress the customer. You want them to come back. You want them to have a good experience. And so overdoing it is not going to get you there. Creating a manageable goal, achieving that goal, bringing those people in, and then extending that, the achievement into the patient experience and the service you provide and whatever is ultimately what's going to create that stickiness with the customer, that they don't just come in for the one peel at the $199 discount or whatever. They're coming in and getting that peel and then signing up for a package for a series of four, after that, or completing the protocol, or whatever the story is. So again, that the achievability piece, I think, is very important to make sure that the goals of your campaign are in line, that they're achievable goals, and that ultimately you're able to deliver on what you've committed to. Um, Relevance is sort of our second last item here. So the offer needs to be relevant. And when we talk about relevance, we talk about, you know, why does the customer care about this? What's so special about you? Why do I care about that now? Right? Why it's important now? I can do it in 6 months from now. It doesn't matter. No, you want them to do something right now. Why to do BioRepill? Because BioRepill is summer safe. Okay. VIPO is not summer safe. The Perfect Derma peel we don't do in the summer. But if I want to get a peel, that's the peel. Okay, so so in kind of some of the messaging that goes into the advertisement or whatever, or the visuals that you're providing, you want to touch on the points of relevance, that may be related to the product itself. It may be related to the timing around the advertisement. It may be related to a specific call to action. you know uh, do this in order to get that, right? So those things are the pieces that are going to, that answer the question of relevance, that are going to drive, ultimately, the call to action, that specific behavior that you want to elicit from the viewer, the end consumer. If the ad is irrelevant, if it doesn't mean, I see an advertising and I don't need that, then I don't need that, and I kind of move on from that. If something in the ad, catches my eye, the reason why it's catching my eye is because that's relevant to me on some level, right? And so that's, in your messaging, in your content, those are going to be the things that you're trying to go for, even on a sort of a subconscious, subliminal level. To use imagery and to use verbiage and to use, some of the punch points about the product that are going to capture the attention of the person, that are going to be relevant to the largest potential audience. It's not going to be relevant to everybody, to be sure, but to be relevant to the largest potential audience is really the goal. Lastly is time sensitivity, and this really, again, is what I sort of view as ultimately the call to action, right? So we have this great product. It's summer safe. It's good for all skin types. Everybody loves it. It looks really cool when I put the dots on you, and everybody's using that, and it's great, right? But like, still, the question that nags the back of the mind of the viewer is like, well, so why would I do this now, right? And that's really where, again, you're going to tie the ad into something specific, a specific relevant, specific event, a specific savings, a specific, listen, fear of missing out, don't miss out, limited time only. These are the types of catchphrases that you see all the time in advertisements to try to drive consumer behavior, right? So, and fear of missing out I mean, it's this kind of nouveau sort of a view of the world. But it's something that's very real. And the idea that everybody's doing it and you're not is something that has a lot of weight these days, particularly in sort of social media culture, that, this kind of, immediate gratification, immediate information, immediate type of a culture. Fear of missing out is something that's really become a very strong driver of activity. People are doing all kinds of stuff they don't need to do. They have absolutely no need for, but just only not to be the one that's not doing it. So, so there's something to be said for that type of an approach. But again, at the very least, tying to, it's a Mother's Day thing, it's a Father's Day thing, it's a Christmas thing, it's a New Year's thing, it's an Easter thing. Save 20% when you buy, this service with that service, right? Or whatever. Those are the types of call to actions that are going to be the most substantive, and that are really going to kind of drive behavior, that you want to make sure are included in your campaign, for client acquisition, for customer acquisition. For brand reinforcement, again, not necessarily, but certainly for customer acquisition, you want to do something to get them in the door, right? And pull them in off the street, as it were. Um, this is a really good example of that, right? So, and I mean, it's almost checking all the boxes, right? We're talking about, these are the highlights of the product, right? It's good for these conditions. Boom, 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 boom. If I'm in the 99th percentile, if I'm 99% of the world, I've got one of these conditions. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the nature of things, right? And so, already I'm looking down the list, and they're saying, oh, hyperpigmentation. I don't really have a hyperpigmentation problem. My wife tells me I have very large pores on the nose, so I've got the large pores issue. So now I'm looking, okay, the magic is in the vial. It's all skin type, zero downtime. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Book the appointment. Yeah. And did we mention the promotion? Well, now they got my attention. It's cheaper. Call today. There's your call to action. Complimentary consultation. She's going to get you in the door and talk to you, and it ain't even going to cost you anything, right? So, it is, this ad actually has all of the sort of elements of of what we've been talking about. We have, the kind of specific, the biorepeal treatment. Okay, is your specific product or service. You have measurability, right? I'm going to call today, and I'm going to tell either I'm looking for the promotion or I'm looking for the complimentary consultation, both of which are mentioned here, right? Um, you know, Achievability, that's maybe a separate story. Again, I don't know how many clients she's planning on getting from this, but to the point, she's going to book appointments so she can't book appointments anymore. And she is going to be able to deliver the service for this kind of a price point and make money and be profitable. So in that sense, it's achievable. Um, it's a kind of a relevant offering. Okay. And again, insofar as it's not necessarily attached to a specific event per se, but it is relevant and time sensitive insofar as you're going to get this promotion this month. So she's calling somebody to action immediately, like act now, because it's already, what's today? It's already the 25th. The month's over in 5 days. So if I want to get this promotion, I've got to be acting in the next 5 days. Right. So, just and I mean, I happen to pull this off of somebody's Instagram account today. Like, it just stood out to me as kind of a good example because it really checked a lot of the boxes. So, again, that was a good specific example. Even something like this, just from a brand reinforcement or a brand recognition perspective, it's not a bad thing either, right? She's telling you she offers biorepeal. She's telling you about some of the benefits of the biorepeal. It's not like, call me right away, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm thinking about appeal, and I'm seeing, hey, it's good for acne. It's improves the texture of the skin, pores. I'm like, oh, biorepeal, that's interesting. And now I start fishing around biorepeal, and like everybody's doing biorepeal, and I'm seeing before and afters, and I'm going like, oh my god, and now I'm calling Aubrey and saying, yeah, I want that biorepeal. So just from a brand reinforcement perspective, posting stuff like this on a kind of a regular basis reminds people that you're doing that. They're thinking about appeal, they're scrolling through the phone, and they come across this. That's going to help to drive some business as well and reinforce, your brand, in kind of in association with this brand. Again, sort of the last kind of piece on some specific examples. Like I say, messaging like, it's summertime, it's a no peel peel. Great skincare doesn't take days off, whatever. Like, you're not saying the other guys, you can't use the other guys in the summer, they're garbage. But we're just saying you can use ours. And the people are like, oh yeah, I can't do my other peel now because it's summertime. So they know they can't do it. You don't need to tell them they can't, but but you're telling them they can use yours. You can use this one. So so that type of again, those types of messages, more passive in a sense, right? But still touching on the key points of the product, and telling somebody without telling them why they want to come do this and why they want to do it right away and why it's important. Those things too are good sort of thoughts to have in your mind in the creative process as you're building some kind of an advertisement or a campaign, that you're kind of thinking in that mode of how to hint to people to let them make the decision for themselves that this is something they want, and this is something they want to act on. So, in conclusion, I guess, some of the points that we've touched on here, the most important takeaways, I guess, are, to be intentional in your marketing activities, um, plan them, execute them, not just like make it for the purpose of making it, like make it for a reason, build a plan around it, write it up, produce the reel, whatever you're going to do, like look at it again, look at it a third time, have somebody else look on it, make sure, kind of make it just what you want, release it, track it, execute it, like do it, plan it and execute it. We say measure 6 times, cut once, right? And you're going to have the best results. So that type of a discipline in building your campaigns. Remember to be smart, right? Smart, this kind of smart about your marketing. Um, think about, again, brand awareness campaigns versus acquisition campaigns and the balance of the two that you can use. Your acquisition campaigns being built around specific, you know, points in the year, events, and so forth during the year, but filling them in with brand awareness and brand reinforcement campaigns. And then also referral programs, sign and save, series or subscription type stuff. These are all really, really good ways that, again, once you've done that initial campaign to bring the business in, retain, 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 right? So whatever you can do to continue to have that person coming back and getting other services, which includes, kind of cross promoting other stuff that you do and upselling other services that you have. And they came for the bio repeal, but like now you're going to do the dermal planing together with the bio repeal. And yeah, it's $50 more, but whatever, they're there anyways. And, it's going to enhance the result. And so creating or further monetizing the visits, because you've already paid the cost of acquisition. You already paid the money to bring them in. So, looking at ways to further monetize those relationships are kind of critical. And you can see it everywhere. You buy your shoot, like the Apple phone is like the best examples of like those kind of upsells and that monetization, right? Because like you go and you buy the phone, and then they change the phone on you in a year, they release the new one, and then you buy the new one and you realize that the plug that you have doesn't work anymore because they changed the plug, so you got to buy a new plug. And then they change the phone again and you buy the new phone. And then you realize that the headphones that you have don't plug into that phone anymore because they plug into the bottom now. So you got to buy new headphones. And so they're selling you like 3 phones in 3 years, 2 different plugs, 2 different headphones. And it's just, and you're just busy buying it, right? Because you're already there. And so it's, so that that type of thing can really be applied to your business as well. That, once you've paid the cost of acquisition to get the customer, to have them respect your brand, to have them respect, your company and your service, there's always going to be ways to increase and to create additional, service offerings and product offerings for those customers. We're guilty of it too, right? We're in the same boat ourselves. We make a peel, we make a body peel, we make a brightening kit, we make a cleanser, we make an aftercare, and it's ultimately the same thing. We're providing products and services that you need, and because you're here working with us, it makes sense for you to continue to work with with the same provider. There's a synergy across those platforms. There's a relationship and a trust that exists. So all of those things are true in my business. They're true in your business. They're true in the next business. Any successful business is going to be operating on those same basic principles. So with that being said, let me maybe stop sharing over here. Okay, so with that being said, I guess if anybody has any questions, I can you can either pop them in the Q&A or in the chat, or like raise a hand and I can grab you, whatever works. Okay, and don't be shy. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm just gonna turn on, see if I can turn on the mics here so you guys can talk. I'm just kind of running everybody's mics on. So again, if you have any questions, Jolie, how are you? I didn't see you come in.
Sorry, I snuck in late.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. All right, perfect. Yeah, so I don't know if do you have any questions? Was there here? I mean, I see there's some in the QA, so I'll jump in here. But Mario, you can probably talk that, but I'll read your question anyways. You're saying it's more protocol related, but what's the minimum age for the peel? So minimum age for the peel, I know that I have clients that run juvenile acne clinic that use the peel for ages 12 to 15. So 12 is like, I'm for sure aware of that in the real world, on a kind of a clinical basis and on a clinical level, the product is being used for kids as young as 12. Anecdotally, we had an esthetician that used to work for us some years ago. Her daughter was 10. She used it for she used the peel to try to pull out a scar that her daughter had. So like, even let's say anecdotally, I'm aware of situations like that, where it's where even for that age, they're using they're using the product. But definitely sort of preteen and up is certainly the accepted age range. When considering the claims for the peel as a provider, you have quite a lot of questions on the efficacy and effectiveness. How can we incorporate that into the marketing? Yeah, I mean, that's actually really key, right? Because efficacy and effectiveness, I think, are the things that are going to grab people, and typically the way that most people try to incorporate that into into the marketing is through visuals, right? So showing the before and afters, or something like this is going to be, in a sense, the best way to illustrate that. The old adage that a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? And so when you go online and you see whatever day one and the acne, right? And then, like, after the third treatment, and it's like the skin is smooth and the acne's gone, and this, you don't even have to tell them anything. They're like, I want it now. And that's it. And they're calling you. I want it now. They're running. So I think that visuals are ultimately the best way to demonstrate efficacy and effectiveness. And I think from that, to that point, if you're focused down on a specific product, and then you take it even a step further and you focus down on a specific concern, right? It's going to make it a lot easier to build something around efficacy and effectiveness, right? As opposed to showing 8 different before and afters of a bunch of different things. I do have some studies, yes, that I get my hands on that I can provide for you about it, for sure. But again, they're more like, it's going to be like more sciencey in nature, right? So not necessarily for like the for general consumption or for mass consumption. Looking at that at the PowerPoint study that I'll send you is not going to make anybody run to you to buy the product. It's that type of thing. The science is there, and it's and it's explained and whatever, but I think just purely from a marketing standpoint, looking at before and afters are going to be good ways to to drive business that way. And there's so much of that available, like on our Instagram page, on some of the other Instagram pages and so forth, that you have access to and that you can use. And again, and Elena, I actually absolutely agree with you. And I think that anybody who's ever taken any of my trainings or whatever knows that for me, I always talk about the 3 E's, right? Efficacy, education, and expectations. And I think that all the three of them are tied together, but the efficacy, I view it as on us. We have to provide you a product that under the right circumstances does what it says it's going to do. Okay. But education, which is what you're touching on, is really important. The more you know about the product, the more data you have, the more data points you have, the more intelligently you can speak about that product, the more confident people are going to feel when they come to you for that service, the better they're going to understand why it's doing what it's doing and how it's doing what it's doing. That actually ultimately kind of turns into, it does two things. It gauges and it frames the patient experience, and it actually turns into a secondary selling tool for you, because those people go out in the world and they're like, oh yeah, they use a biphasic technology and there's a thing and the isopropyl myristate and it goes to the skin and it works from the inside out. And they're, repeating all of that stuff that you repeated to them because they feel that they know something, right? But in the meantime, actually what they're doing is kind of promoting further amplifying the message of the efficacy and what a patient should expect. So they're kind of doing the two jobs for you if you have the right education and you give the right information over to the patient. And so it's you're touching on something actually really, really important. And I'm going to get you that information, and actually maybe you and I are going to speak about that separately, because you really are, you're touching on something very, very important, and something that again that I personally find to be super, kind of central to everything we do. If we have reps over here that contact people and sign them up to buy a box of peel, and like don't do the training and don't do the hand holding and don't educate the customer and don't try to do things to help to further reinforce that education and that expectation component, they're just setting themselves up for failure. And all the time I'm on those people like, no, you have to, like, I tell them the job starts after the sale, not before, right? Because people who bring this product on, you have to know how to use it. You have to know what to expect. You've got to be able to educate your customers. You got to know what to look for, things to be cognizant of, like, and all of those things are really, really important. And like I said, just you're touching on something that I personally, I have a deep appreciation for, and kind of hold very, very, very dear. Let's see. Anybody else? A lot of you guys are on mute, but if you have questions, you can sort of feel free to shout them out. We're doing like the open floor thing here. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, and then I guess, and if no, then that is fine too. We're going to, like I say, I'm certainly going to provide the recording of this, so you'll be able to go back and kind of watch through or whatever. It's a fair bit to digest. I know I've gone into like seminar mode, right? So it's a little bit to sort of take everything in, but at the same time, again, it will be available for you to watch back. And then if you have any questions after that, or you just want to take them offline or whatever, that's totally fine for me as well. Obviously, as any of you that are working with me know very well, I'm always available. So definitely we can kind of convene offline to talk further about any of this stuff. So I think Okay, and so what I'm going to do is kind of following the call here. Everybody can jump off. I'm going to get an email out. The email is going to have a link for this recording. It's going to have a promo code in it for you that you're going to be able to use on your next order to get the 5% off. It's going to have that same promo code that you can use to get the $100 off the Lucente. And I'm going to just, kind of pull the list of the attendees over here and close my eyes and put my finger on the paper, and whoever that is, I'm going to let you know, and you're going to get a free vial of the peel with your next order. You can just let me know if you want it to be blue or gold. And I think, we can sort of leave it at that. Like I say, unless anybody anybody else has any questions that they want to ask, and again, doesn't have to be limited to one topic or another. If there's anything on your mind that you were curious, because we're here, we can talk about it. Gina, yeah, if you just want to unmute, Gina.
I just want to say I was listening to everything. I'm sorry I was with a client.
Yeah, no worries.
But it was fabulous. Thank you.
I appreciate you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, and then let me just see here, because I think there's some in the QA. So Marianne, how does the Lucente kit work? Is it similar to blue or gold? So Lucente, maybe because we're talking about Lucente, I'm going to open up Lucente, and we will talk about Lucente for a minute for you guys that have some time left. So Lucente, just as this is opening, is not like is not like the blue or the gold. Okay, the Lucente product is a brightening solution. It's not let's say any kind of a peel or something like that. It doesn't use those it doesn't use like the chemicals like the TCA and that type of thing. It's very specifically formulated to attack the processes that generate pigmentation in the skin, the cellular processes that generate pigmentation in the skin. And so the product uses tranexamic acid as the kind of foundational ingredient. And I'm just gonna open up the share screen so that you can see this presentation here. Let me maybe just do slideshow. Can you see this the slideshow that's up here? Is that what you guys are looking at?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
Yeah.
here. Hang on one second. Sorry, I'm just gonna reshare it so that it's on a bigger screen. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Lucente comes like this. It comes in a kit. So there's basically two vials of this sort of mesotherapy solution, which is going to be applied to the skin, and then you can either do like a shallow microneedling or use like a microchanneling or a stamping device or something like that to kind of put to put that into the skin. And then you're going to have the other element of it is going to be a take-home component, a cream that the patient is going to be using at home twice a day for the duration of the protocol of that particular kit. And so we have, like, depending on the depth and the darkness of the pigmentation condition, we'll have different programs that will service those needs. So if somebody has, kind of, widespread but sort of light, hyperpigmentation on the skin, they'll typically get into like a 3-month program. And so the 3-month program will start with, like, day 0, you'll do a bio repeal, you'll clean off the peel, you'll apply the mesotherapy, do the needling of the mesotherapy, and then send them home with the cream. And they'll start using that cream twice a day from that point forward for the next 3 months. 2 weeks later, they'll come back and do a second needling session, and then again, just continue using the cream. So that product is administered as like a, as a specific protocol for for each patient. But again, the idea is that what it's doing is it's preventing the development of, really, from the melanocyte. So it's preventing the development of the the melanin in the skin that ultimately shows up as pigmentation on the surface of the skin. Okay,
Okay, I think this one was what the rep Malachi was talking to us about yesterday. We
yeah.
can use this for underarms, intimate areas.
That's right, and I think yes, I think that's did you were you on the lip gloss and aftershave webinar yesterday or no?
No, we were
Because
just
okay,
speaking with Mordecai and
yeah,
protocols of the bio repeal, the gold and blue, and then we
yeah.
mentioned if we were able to use the gold or the blue in intimate
Hmm.
areas, and he mentioned this kit.
Right. So yeah, so the on intimate areas you can use the blue. But again, the Lucente is very specifically formulated for post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and melasma, type
Mhm.
conditions to do again more of like more of a treatment approach as opposed to like a management approach, right? So, when you do a peel, all you're ever really doing with the peel is exfoliating away skin that you don't want for whatever reason, okay? Because it's got the pimples or acne, or because it's got some pigmentation in it or whatever. So really, what your peel is doing, what your chemicals are doing, is the chemical injury. It's breaking down those cells and exfoliating that stuff away. But that's never going to get to the root cause of the pigmentation, which in this case is the
Mhm.
melanocyte, and then that melanin genesis process, which kind of works its way up towards being visible in the upper layers of the skin. And so what the Lucente does is attacks those cellular processes that cause the pigmentation, the melanin synthesis in the first place, and prevent the pigment from ever developing. So you don't, so you're not in a position where you need to exfoliate it off. It's just not there. Right?
Okay.
So and
How many
sorry, go ahead.
how many treatments do you get out of the take home? Or how long is that good for? A month or
Yeah, so each tube of the cream should be
Mhm.
is basically 1 month supply. And normally the
Okay.
way that I advise people to manage those programs is, when the patient comes in on the first day, you do the needling treatment, and you give them the bottle of the bottle of the cream, and you send them home, and they need to start using that twice a day, every day through the course of the month. At the end of the month, you set up like a 10-minute appointment, okay? That they're going to come in, they're going to give you the empty bottle, you're going to give them a new one, and you're just going to kind of see what's been going on with their skin, right? Um, and it's a really good touch point for a number of reasons. I mean, it's not a time consuming thing. You could do it in the lobby. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
the purpose of it is that you haven't seen them in 2-3 weeks, so it's going to give you an opportunity, because you've been away from them, to have
Mhm.
some kind of an opportunity to see their skin, and you're going to see changes in the skin that they don't see because they're looking at themselves every day. Okay. And then the other
Right.
thing is that it's going to give you an opportunity to kind of make sure, if they come to you with like a half full bottle of cream, they're not using it right. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it, it
Good point.
it's yeah, and so it gives you that opportunity to, take back the old one, give them the new one, and be like, there's still some left in here. Like, don't be so conservative with it. Throw it on,
Mhm.
right? It's not a problem. And just, kind of make sure that they're using it right, because the most important thing, I think, ultimately with these programs in specific, is that, it's not like they come to you and they get a peel. Like, all they've got to do is show up, right? With this
Right.
program, they kind of have to do the work too. So they've got to be committed to doing that, and to being involved in that program, and making sure that, that they're following it or doing it correctly, in order to get the best results.
Mhm.
Um, at the same time, I mean, I can tell you that I've got clients that started these protocols, like bought a kit, a 3-month kit. Oh, I have this specific client, I'm going to try it out on them, right? My client in Dallas, she's up in the villages in like North Florida, and
Mhm.
so she started a protocol on somebody. She did the needling session. They take the cream home. 2 weeks later, they come back for the second needling session. She sent me a text message when the person walked in the office. She's like, listen,
Hmm.
like, just so you know, like it starts like that. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like, just so you know, I did one needling session on the person and they've been using the cream for 2 weeks and they walked in the door and I can see it's like a world of difference already. So
Yeah.
it's like, and she was like crazy excited about it. Like, this is fantastic, da 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 da. I have Dr. Kimberly in shit, she's just outside like Orlando. Can't remember the name of the town right now, but in any case, like another one, she swears by La Lucente. Like, this is one, if you go on the Facebook page, any threads about Lucente, you're always going to see comments from Dr. Kimberly Vega. You'll see her name
Okay.
everywhere, like all the time. She's always like, "Oh, Lucente is the best. I'm using it for everybody. It's the best. It's the best." Like,
Hmm.
she's another one that like bought a kit, used it on somebody, boom, just started using it on everybody. You know,
Yeah.
so it's
That's cool.
yeah, no, it's really, really a solid product. And the point is like it's not the run of the mill hydroquinone stuff that's out there. Like, hydroquinone is super toxic. It's really, really not good for you. Like, and the truth is
Hmm.
it's to the point, even if we wanted to make a product with hydroquinone in it, we couldn't because it's not
Hmm.
allowed. The substance is banned in Europe. So like, and the products are made in
Yeah.
Italy. You can't even make a hydroquinone product if you wanted to in Italy. That's why all that
Hmm.
stuff that you find is that hydroquinone stuff is all made in like Korea, right? And stuff like this.
Right.
Because over there
Yep.
you can use those ingredients, but you can't make those products like that in Italy. So, tranexamic acid is very, very good. Um, really kind of does the same job. But then there's also you see like this presentation is long. I try to get this to you maybe, but again, it gets really into the science of this about the different cellular activity that's getting inhibited and stopped and whatever. But the long story short is that the ingredient set here in this product, it's all kind of much more naturally derived, higher quality ingredients that together are doing the job to stop these kind of the four key elements of the production of melanin and pigmentation in the skin. So it's really sciencey stuff, but at the end of the day, it works.
I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah. Okay. What else? Elena, you're saying you love to see a guide for pre, intra, and post care protocols for acne hyperpigmentation. Note on several occasions, it's a common practice question for many providers. They know the product, but often do not have a clear protocol for these conditions for pre-post product. So it's funny you're saying that because I saw today on one of our internal chats that there was some document going back and forth, specifically on post care. So I'm gonna dig that up and get that your way as well. I probably might even have it here somewhere, but in any case, I'll try to find that and get that out to you as well.
Well, I'm
Any,
definitely going to
yeah,
get that on my next order because I have a client
yeah,
that I've offered a special deal to, and I've been working with her, and
mhm,
she's a young girl. She has some acne issues, and
yeah,
it's been done amazing, but
yeah.
she has some places that she has hyperpigmentation.
Hmm.
So I know I need to do something like that, I think, to help her
Well, then do it before August
resolve those
30th and get
issues.
$100 off. Yeah, so
Okay.
there it is. You're proving my point. Yeah.
That's
So,
right.
yes. All right. So definitely that's
Yep.
good. But yeah. So that's I think yeah, will be good for that. And so Elena, I'm gonna try to get you that pre and post care stuff. I will put together also get out something on the some case studies or whatever I can pull on that and get that to you as well. And then again for everybody, I'm going to get out uh, the promo code, the video of this and the information that you need there for the promotional stuff and announce who's the winner of the vial. Okay. So I guess we're probably good for time. Again, I appreciate everybody's time so much. Thank you. If
Thank
you have any
you.
questions, don't hesitate to reach out at all. If you're not my client and you're Mordecai's client or whatever, feel free to reach out to him as well. We're all here to help. I think that's really the point. We're sort of a family over here, and whatever we can do to support you, we're going to do. Okay, so I appreciate you very
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah. Have a great
Thanks
night.
a lot. Appreciate it. You
Thanks.
too.
Yep. Okay. Bye-bye.